In the room. I'm excited to have a conversation with you all on this evening. It is Friday evening. Come on in the room this evening as we have a conversation. And of course, on this Friday, as we have this conversation, some of you may see the title of what we're going to talk about today in this conversation that we're going to have together on this evening. I'm excited about it. And let's see. Let's see where this goes and let's see what thoughts you have and what comes to your mind. But on this evening, this Friday Faith Talk, that's what we're having on today. We are having a Friday Faith Talk on today. And we are talking about our faith and sharing a little bit about our faith as we dive into the word on today. So welcome as you tune in. I am Assistant Pastor Simon Steele here at Mount Zion Missionary Baptist Church. And I know many of you are like, wait a minute, are we live? Yes, we are live on this evening to have a quick conversation with you. So I look forward to having that conversation with you on today. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are talking about the subject on today that we are talking about is don't forget to pour. Yes, we are talking about don't forget to pour. And what does that mean? What are we talking about today when it means don't forget to pour? And so that's what I want to discuss and share with you on this evening. Last time we did a Friday Faith Talk, it was about the little things. It's the little things and learning how to appreciate the little things in life. And so on this Friday Faith Talk, we're going to talk about don't forget to pour. So I want you all to tune in and hold on to your seatbelts while we have this conversation. All right, let's get this party started. So when we talk about don't forget to pour, I'm going to give you a few scriptures to think about. And of course, we know in the book of Titus chapter 2, there are scriptures that talk about how the older women should mentor the younger women, how the older men should carry themselves. Of course, we have Proverbs 27, verse 17, that lets us know that iron sharpens iron. Of course, we also have Proverbs chapter 22, verse 6, that tells us to train up a child in the way that they should go. There are so many scriptures in the Bible that talk about mentoring, training, pouring into others, and having the opportunity to help someone else. So when we talk about don't forget to pour on this evening, that's what we're talking about. Don't forget to pour into someone else. Don't forget to sow into someone else's life. Don't forget that you have people out there that God has placed in your circle for you to mentor, for you to work with, to help grow as well. Let me give you another scripture. Proverbs 13, verse 20. Proverbs 13:20 says this. Listen, it says, he who walks with the wise will become wise, but a companion of fools will suffer harm. And so it lets us know that we should be walking with the wise. There are benefits to walking with wise counsel because they can pour in you, lead you, and direct you. And I'm talking to my wise people on today. I need you to know that you have an obligation that you should not forget to pour. And so when we are looking at this on today, good evening to you, Karen. We see you tuning in to Mount Zion Missionary Baptist Church. Happy to have you tuning in. Make sure if you all can, you can share the live with someone else and let them know that we are talking about not forgetting to pour. Sometimes we take it for granted, right? Sometimes we don't really realize the magnitude and the impact that we can have on other people when we pour. When we use those opportunities, the people, those special people, you know who I'm talking about, those special people that you may have compassion for that other people may not, those special people that you may take that extra time to work with, but guess what? Other people say, I'm done, I give in, I throw in the towel, I don't want to have anything else to do with it, right? but God places them in your life. Yes, those people out there with a big heart, those people out there, and you know that God has placed certain people in your life, and you have an obligation, you have a duty, and you are also anointed to pour in their lives. On today, I want you all to remember to don't forget to pour and make sure you're in the right environment where God has called you to be so that you can be poured into. Those of you that need to be poured into, don't be intimidated. Don't be worried. Don't be stressed out. Don't think about, well, what if they see this about me or what if they see that flaw? Guess what? They've been anointed to pour into your life. So accept that mentorship that is placed in your life. And what brought this to my mind was on today, as I was sitting in my office, two young men that I used to coach, that I used to mentor in this community, will still mentor. Uh, they called me and they wanted to come spend some time with me. And so I had some free time. And of course, I used to mentor them probably from around fourth, fifth grade, all the way up to now they're about 24, 25 years old. But I have not coached them on a basketball court in probably 6 years. And so two of those young men came to my office on this evening, and we spent about 2.5 hours laughing and joking and talking about old times and old stories and things that we went through and have been through. But what's interesting is I saw their countenance change. I saw their mentality uh, and their spirits uplifted from that conversation, from me pouring into them. And just like when they were younger and they were young kids, I used to have conversations with them, not just about basketball, but about life and about, what they're doing with themselves. And good evening to you, uh, Sister Donna Tony. Happy to have you tuning in here at Mount Zion Missionary Baptist Church. You all make sure you share the live so we can share the gospel, the good news in this Friday Faith Talk with as many people as possible, whether they watch it today or tomorrow or the next day. We want to share the good news with other people. And so, of course, I want you all to know I'm the assistant pastor here at Mount Zion Missionary Baptist Church, but our senior pastor at Mount Zion is the great Pastor Christy Conyers here at Mount Zion. And so as we have this conversation about don't forget to pour, as Sister Tony put in the comment section, we have an obligation and a duty and a great opportunity to pour into more people. And there are benefits because you get to serve. You get to serve in the capacity that God has called you to serve in certain people's lives, that one-on-one with them. When I had those young men in my office and we were talking, I broke out some paper. I told them to get their calculators ready. We started doing uh, investment problems and scenarios, real life scenarios about how for them to budget, get their money right, not to waste their money. If we jump right back in as if we never missed a beat. And that is the beautiful thing about when you've been called and anointed to pour into people's lives, God will give you the ears of those people for you to be able to have immediate impact. Who am I talking to on today? I'm talking to those of you out there that are parents. You must remember, even a parent, you've been anointed and appointed and designated to sow into the lives of your children. Some of you are aunts, some of you are uncles, grandparents. Guess what? You have these young people around you. Take advantage of the opportunity to serve. Be the wise counsel to those young ears to help train them up in the way that they should go. We can never forget to pour. I know, I get it. Sometimes we're tired, sometimes we're fatigued, sometimes we got just enough energy to take a shower, eat, go to bed. But you have to muster up enough strength to take time to pour back into other people. And one thing I like about Mount Zion Missionary Baptist Church is not only do we have a youth ministry, but we have a young adult ministry. And that young adult ministry is headed by one of the associate pastors here at Mount Zion, which is Pastor Bonita Porter. And she does a great job of pouring into those young people that we have at our church and into the community. It makes a big impact. If you want to have great community impact, find yourself pouring into those young adults. And as you pour into the young adults, we'll be able to see them soar into adulthood and be more successful in life. And so, as I spent like over 2 hours with those young men in my office, we got so much accomplished. They were full, they were happy, and of course, they've gone on their way now, right? And so it just touched my heart to think about we have to be appreciative of those moments that God gives us to pour into other people's lives on a Friday evening. Of course, I'm sure many people are probably watching a football game or getting ready to go to a football game. And so, even when those football players come off the field and they're tired and they've given their all on this evening, make sure you pour back into them, encourage them, whether they won or whether they lost. They need someone to pour back into them to build them up, to lift them up. As you're tuning in on today, you have some homework. Think about it. When you think about certain instances in the Bible, what were some moments where we saw mentors pour into others in the Bible? Can anybody come up with some examples in the Bible where we saw a leader or a mentor pour into someone else that needed that pouring? Yes, there are people out there that need that pouring in their life, and God has designated you to be the one to be able to have that awesome opportunity to take the wisdom that God has given you and impart it into their lives. Not expecting anything back, but just willing and wanting to see that person grow. As we talk about that on today, I'm interested to hear your thoughts and your comments of some examples in the Bible where we saw leaders pour into other people. And so I'll start it off with one example. One example in the Bible, we saw Jethro. Jethro, the father-in-law of Moses, he took time and poured into Moses and gave Moses wisdom and guidance and advice on how to manage what he had on his plate, dealing with all the children of Israel. That's just one example in the Bible where we saw someone who poured into the life of Moses. And Moses was appreciative of that. It gave other people an opportunity to step up in leadership positions. So because Jethro poured, not only did it impact Moses to be a better leader, but it gave other people an opportunity to be in leadership positions over those tribes. So as we're talking about don't forget to pour on today, what are some other examples in the Bible where we saw someone pour into someone else? Let's look at another example. When we talk about Moses, we can think about who Moses poured into. Moses began to pour into Joshua to train Joshua up because after Moses passes away, Joshua comes into leadership next. And so we saw Moses pour into Joshua. What are some other examples in the Bible where we saw leaders pour into those up under them that they were mentoring? I got another example for you. We saw Elijah pour into Elisha. And so we saw Elisha following after the great prophet, his leader, his mentor, his teacher, his prophet. We saw Elisha following after Elijah to multiple places. Even though he was going to be taken up, he still followed him to those different places: Bethel, Gilgal, Jericho, across the Jordan. And of course, Elijah told him, if you see me when I'm taken up, that double portion that you want shall be given to you. He was willing to pour into his mentee, the person that he was training and teaching. What are some other examples in the Bible that we have of people pouring and mentoring into others? As you're tuning in, Mount Zion Missionary Baptist Church, I want to hear your thoughts. And think about this. We need to do a check-in as well on this evening. We need to check in on our teachers. And so when we do a pulse check on our educators, because at the beginning of the school year, we have our pours. Our educators out there are constantly pouring into these young people, right? And of course, these young kids have come off of summer break. Oh my goodness. And now they're back into the school system. They have to get acclimated to the classroom rules, what goes on in the hall, being on time, transitioning from one class to another, from one section to the next, with leadership in place. I need to check in on my educators on this evening. Of course, my educators, as you tune in, whether you're listening now or later, we want to do a check in and make sure y'all are all right. Can any of my educators give me a thumbs up? Is everything okay? How are you feeling? We want to encourage you on today, educators, as you have been working with our young people the past few weeks now that school is back in. Educators, what are you doing to refill your cup so that you can be poured in onto into as well after you've been pouring out all week? I want to invite my educators out to Mount Zion Missionary Baptist Church. We have a 10 a.m. service at 1370 Shaw Road. We want you to come out and be poured back into, my educators out there. We want to make sure that you're doing okay, that you're doing all right. Okay, let's see here. Um, yes, Sister Thaxton, Jesus poured into his disciples. That's a great example. And I think you're looking at my notes because that was one of my other examples. And then we got Sister Tony saying Paul mentored Timothy. That is correct. And that was my other example in my notes. That would be crazy if someone guessed the last two examples in my notes. Who else is out there? What other two examples do we have where someone mentored and poured into someone else that helped them be able to grow? So we have a lot of male examples, men, and so I'll give you a hint. One of the examples on my sheet is about two women. So when we talk about don't forget to pour, and I'm talking to my teachers out there who have been pouring into our young people, into their minds, teaching them, mentoring them, working with them in those classrooms the past few weeks. Make sure you come out to Mount Zion Missionary Baptist Church, 1370 Shaw Road, 10 a.m. service. We want to pour back into you spiritually and build you back up. So we invite everybody that's tuning in to the live to our church service on Sunday, where our senior pastor is the great Christy Conyers. You want to make sure you have your face in the place. And so I have two more examples. I'm going to give one more, and I'm going to see if someone else can figure out women in the Bible where one person poured into another and it worked to their benefit. So the other example I have is of two men, and it is Eli and the prophet Samuel. Eli was the priest, and Samuel was mentored and learned from Eli. And so that is another example where Eli was able to give Samuel advice. He was able to give him guidance. I remember in the Bible when I read, Samuel heard someone calling him, and he thought it was Eli, the priest. And he kept going to Eli, and Eli said, basically let him know it's not me. Next time you hear that voice, you need to say, "Hear my Lord," because it was God calling Samuel, not Eli. And so that wisdom, that advice was able to take him far. Iron sharpens iron. Yes. And so Miss Karen has guessed the last example I had on my paper, and of course Sister Thaxton as well. Naomi poured into Ruth. Yes, Ruth and Naomi. We cannot forget the poor. Some people out there, they don't have their parents in their lives, so the grandparents might have to be the poor, the person who pours in their lives. Good evening to you, Kim Webster. Happy to have you tuning in here at Mount Zion Missionary Baptist Church, where our senior pastor is Christy Conyers, and I am the assistant pastor here at Mount Zion. We are just talking about don't forget to pour and don't take it for granted. It's a great opportunity that you have in your life. And as we get ready to come close to a close, I just want you to know some of the benefits of pouring. Guess what? When you pour into someone's life, they're going to experience spiritual growth. They're going to get leadership development from you. Yes. And when I deal with young people in the community, and I used to coach a lot, and I would just teach them basic life principles, basic manners, how to conduct themselves in certain environments. Guess what? It kept a lot of them from being arrested, a lot of them from going to jail. It makes our community better when we pour. And so, guess what? It also increases their belief because they see the example you set, and it gives you an opportunity to pass on the faith, to pass on the message of the good news. And so, as we tune in and we talk about don't forget to pour, what are some of your thoughts and comments? Who are people in your life that you know God used you to pour into their lives to make a difference and an impact? And of course, some of you, it may be simple, it may be children. Some of you may be educators. Some of you may be coaches. Some of you, God, you may have met somebody, a complete stranger in the store, and all of a sudden, for the past 10 years, you've kept in contact and been able to pour wisdom into them. Some of those other benefits of pouring as God gives you opportunity is helping out with the community. You're able to leave a legacy. Legacy isn't always about money. Sometimes you're passing down wisdom. Some people you help are going to be the next congressman, senator, president, doctors, lawyers, inventors, creators. You never know who you may be pouring into. So it gives you an opportunity to leave a legacy. It gives you an opportunity to identify some of their negative habits and be able to help them out and reel some of that stuff in as they present itself. Good evening. Good evening to Ollie Canty. Happy to have you tuning in here at Mount Zion Missionary Baptist Church. We're just talking about how God gives you opportunities to pour into other people and the impact that you will have long term. And whether it's your children, grandchildren, you name it, you never know who they may become. Guess what? Some of the people you pour into might end up becoming senior pastors over a church. And now they have impact of hundreds of other lives because of the impact that you had in their life. We never know what may happen. It gives you an opportunity to transfer wisdom as well. And so we can't ever take the opportunity lightly when God gives us a chance to pour into other people's lives. Hello, the president of the Mount, Ernestine Green. And then it rhymes too. I like that. And so as we are here at Mount Zion Missionary Baptist Church, where our senior pastor is Christy Conyers, we're just talking about the opportunity to pour into other people's lives and not to forget it. Because when we pour into people's lives, we have huge impact. It gives us opportunity to share our faith. Gives us opportunity to have a transfer of wisdom as well. We must seize those moments and opportunities. Because why? Because God gave you that moment to be great, to glorify his name, to be able to lift him up, that he be glorified, that he be edified in those moments. We are just mere vessels and tools on the potter's wheel. And so I want you all to challenge yourself moving forward in your pouring. When you have those opportunities in those moments, pick up that phone and make that call. Might be 5-10 minutes. Well, like for me today, it was like 2.5 hours. It was not on my schedule to have those young men in my office and to spend 2.5 hours with them. I had other plans, but guess what? My plans do not come before God's plans, and an opportunity for me to be able to pour into other people. And as you pour into other people, now you need to be filled back up. So I'm going to make sure I have my face in the place on Sunday at 10 a.m. at Mount Zion Missionary Baptist Church. And if you can't physically be there, it is fine, because we do have the Mount where we will go live Sunday morning at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time Zone. We'll be live on Facebook, and we'll also be live on YouTube, Mount Zion Missionary Baptist Church. And make sure, if any of you are tuning in, if you have not subscribed to the YouTube channel, I know you probably watch on Facebook, but I still need you all to go subscribe to the YouTube channel, Mount Zion Missionary Baptist Church. And there you'll see the beautiful family of Pastor Conyers, her and her husband. You'll see a picture there. And make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you share this live on today. But like I said, I want to challenge you all in your pouring, and make sure you grab hold of some young people or whoever God has placed in your life, and a few other things. And I'm going to get out y'all's way. Our associate pastor, Bonita Porter, she is the associate pastor and over the young adult ministry here at Mount Zion. Y'all be on the lookout for some future announcements. because she does have a young adult conference coming up in the future, and that'll be a great opportunity for some young people to get some pouring into them as well. And before I get out of here, let me make sure if there's any more announcements I need to put out. Um, and there is a women's conference. See if I can find that information for you all before I get out. Let's see. We got Donna Tony saying, "My children and grandchildren, God uses her to pour into them." And then our pastor, senior pastor Christy Conyers, said, "There are miracles in mentorship." Me pouring into my grandchildren, Sister Thaxton, talking about who God allows her to pour into and have huge impact. Sometimes we don't realize if we were not there to pour, the results of what would happen or could happen if we were not in place. And so it's an awesome opportunity to be in position to serve. Let's see if I can find that announcement. I thought I just had it, but I'll get to it quickly. So, want to remind you all, there's a Woman of Purpose paint event, and the deadline to sign up is August 24th. And they're going to be painting, and they're going to have pizza, and they're going to also do praise as well. So definitely keep that in mind. And if it's something that you're interested in, make sure you get registered and sign up for that as well. There we go. Paint, pizza, and praise. So make sure you get registered for that. Once again, I appreciate everybody for tuning in. I'm the assistant pastor here at Mount Zion Missionary Baptist Church. We look forward to seeing you all on Sunday morning. Service starts at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time Zone, and we will be live on YouTube and Facebook. And remember, you have a job. I need you to subscribe to the YouTube channel, Mount Zion Missionary Baptist Church. We are almost at 1,000 subscribers. We're at 992. So I need at least 8 more people to go subscribe. Other than that, I enjoyed this time with you all talking about pouring. Seize the moment and come back and leave your comments as you tune into this about the impact you had about pouring into somebody's life that God placed you in their life for a certain season and time. Until then, you all be blessed. If you do it right, God will